Hello everyone, you can feel free to filter in. We're going to be making a sample mask today, and the mask that I'm going to be making is recommended by a Toronto-based hospital, Michael Garron Hospital. So we're going to follow their instructions, and I'll show you live how easy it is to make your own mask. It's not too hard, you just need some easy supplies. So I'll do my best to demonstrate. I'm not too accustomed to sewing live, so I am a little nervous. So please bear with me as I try to sew with steady hands while I'm trying not to be too freaked out. Okay, welcome. Thank you all so much for joining. Let's get started. So the mask that we're going to be making today is a sample that is recommended from Michael Garron Hospital. They're a hospital that's based in Toronto, Canada, and there are a couple of different hospitals around North America that are now asking for fabric-made masks. So if you do have a hospital near you that's looking for that, make sure you check their website for all of their details on size, on materials, on how to donate. Those are all really important to follow so that things are more uniform and easy for the hospitals to handle. So I'm going to be following the Michael Garron template, but whatever hospital you choose to support, or even if you just want to make them for yourself, do so with your best attempt at following the instructions, and hopefully we can really help one another out. The supplies that we're needing for this mask are one piece of cotton, and I think we'll put a link in a future post, or you can look on the Michael Garron website for the dimensions, because it's a lot of dimensions to rattle off. But there's one larger rectangle, one slightly smaller rectangle. Let me show you the size comparison, just a little bit smaller. And then you're going to need some elastic. The instructions that they have allow you to use ties or elastics. In my case, I have these cord elastics, but the flat style elastics would work great too. And the last thing, if you have it, would be some type of twist tie. I've seen people using pipe cleaners. The other day I even used one of the twist ties from a bunch of parsley from the grocery store. So whatever it is that's metal and moldable, that should be good for you. The very first, just to update, the full materials is going to be on cbc.ca/life, so you can go there to check it out. And I'm going to get started with sewing. So the very first piece of fabric that we're going to work with is the larger one, and what we're going to do is hem it all the way around, just folding in the edges and sewing down a straight stitch. So I'm going to get started with that. Now, if you were going to make these masks for donation, it would be best if you could pre-wash the fabric. I apologize if that's really loud. Pre-wash the fabric so that it doesn't have any shrinking problems. As well, you yourself should be sewing with clean hands and a clean workspace. Alright, so that's one side done. And I'm going to get to the other side. You probably would use thread. That is a lot cuter than what I'm doing here, but I'm purposefully using like blue and pink thread so that it's really easy for you to see the seams that I'm doing. So we've got one top edge folded in, one other edge folded in and sewn, and now I'm just going to fold in the two long edges and sew those in place as well. This is all so that the fabric won't fray and that whoever wears it can have it last a little bit longer. One side done, and the last side to hem. Okay, so now we've got all four edges hemmed in. And the next step we're going to do is we're going to put in some pleats. Now the purpose of pleats, and you'll see this across a lot of fabric mask tutorials, is that A rectangle doesn't really suit the roundness of a typical face, and so the pleats will help it to contour around the face. Now with the pleats, what we're doing here is typically I've seen a lot of tutorials putting in 3 pleats, so we're going to do that too. So we just fold, I'm going to try my best to show this to you clearly. Fold it in, it's about like just under a centimeter of a fold, and then I pin that in place. And then we reach into the next spot, do another small fold, pin that in place, and then one more little fold, see that there, and we'll pin that in place. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask them in the comments. Sam from CBC Life is helping me out with like showing me the different questions that people have, so I'll do my best to answer them as we go, and I'm going to repeat on the other side. The first question is, what if you don't have a sewing machine? So I think for the masks that are recommended by hospitals, I will say many of them request that they're made on sewing machines. So if you don't have a sewing machine, you might not be able to make masks that are available for donation. However, there are a lot of really great ways to make a quick mask for yourself without a sewing machine for personal use. Typically, I think the easiest one is the one that was demonstrated by the US Surgeon General last week, I think, on video, and he showed how to make a mask using just a strip of cloth, such as like from a t-shirt or a bandana, 2 hair elastics, and then you can fold it up and the hair elastics become the thing that secures it to the side of your ears. So that's something you can do if you don't have a sewing machine, and if you do have one, then you're kind of in a good position to make masks for any hospitals or local communities or services that might be in need. So I just went ahead and put in these pleats on both sides, and as you can see already, this kind of creates a bit of a cup shape, which is more suitable to the face. I did this really fast, so I'm not too happy with how neat it is, so I did prepare another one in advance that's a little bit neater, just so that it would actually turn out looking nice and clean. So this is identical, the pleats are just a little bit more uniform. And now all we're going to do is sew over here a straight stitch that locks all of these pleats in place. I just kind of pull out the pins as I go so that I don't run over them. That's, I think, something the sewing community is still kind of divided on. Alrighty, so let me show you. The pins are gone, but the pleats remain. It's just a straight stitch holding it down. I'm going to do that on the other side as well. A little background about me. To be honest, I'm mostly self-taught with sewing. Growing up, my mom taught me how to sew, and she would like make all my clothes as well as the clothes for my dolls. We'd have matching outfits, and so from her I learned how to be comfortable with the sewing machine and all that. But then it became just kind of a dormant skill for many years until I started my YouTube channel, and then through that I kind of like went down a spiral of like showing and learning, and now I can confidently use a sewing machine. So yeah, if you find sewing intimidating, don't be too scared, it's totally learnable. There's a question here, it says, are there different size patterns available for different size faces? Indeed there is, especially for this exact tutorial with the Michael Guerin Hospital. I'm actually making the ones that are women's size dimensions, but they do have on their website in their pattern, children's and men's, so there's 3 sizes in total. And if you want to make them for a hospital, you should check with them which one is the most suitable for them. Probably making maybe like a 50-50 split would be a nice way to go if you're not sure. All right, so this is now pleated and completely sewn in. This is going to become the outer layer. So what we're going to do now is work on the inner layer. With all fabric face masks, you'll notice that they try to put in at least 2 layers of fabric, because it's the 2 layers that gives you enough thickness and barriers to protect you from particulates and things in the air. All right, same as this first one, we're just going to fold in all the edges and give them a straight stitch to hem them. One side done. I'm going to come around to the other side. Let us know if you have any more questions. I'll do my best to answer them. I've really taken a crash course in researching fabric face masks over the last 3 weeks because it kind of went from it not being as approved of like a way of protection to, unfortunately, supplies are dwindling and anything is better than nothing. So there's a question about what type of fabric I'm using. The fabric that I'm using is 100% cotton. That's generally recommended for a couple of reasons. It's much more breathable than synthetic fabrics such as polyester. And the other reason why cotton is superior is that because it's a natural fiber, it can withstand much higher temperatures of washing and sanitizing, and that helps a lot in the medical area. Synthetic fabrics, fundamentally they are kind of like a plastic, and so they can't withstand super high heat if you're using that as a way to clean them. Alrighty, we're on the last side of this inner layer, which is very exciting. And I've seen a lot of people use way cuter fabrics. I'm just like sticking to the plain stuff, so it's really easy for you to see what I'm doing. But this is a great opportunity to use scrap fabrics. Even within the Michael Guerin tutorial, they make mention of how it's totally okay to use like old t-shirts or bed sheets. If there's a label, you can check if it's 100% cotton. If there's no label, there's actually some really interesting YouTube videos where they demonstrate how to burn fabric so that you can see from the way it's burning if it's 100% cotton. If that interests you, feel free to look it up. Okay, the inner layer is hemmed. It's identical to that first burgundy colored layer we did. It's just a little bit smaller. All right, and so now what's going to happen is with this first layer, outer layer that we created, we're going to attach the elastics to the two sides. So this right here is one side of it, and we're going to attach the elastic rainbow shape right here. So let me just pin that in place. And then what's going to happen with the other layer is it's going to sandwich the elastic in, and we will be in the home stretch. I think if you were making a whole bunch of these at one time, I would recommend making every step in batches so that you stay focused on one task and then move on to the next task. And I think you'd be flying through this because it's really not as tricky as it looks. I find sewing tutorials can be a bit visually intimidating, but once you get started going bit by bit, it's not so bad. All right, so I'm just pinning these in as little rainbows on the two sides. My elastics are a tiny bit longer than they recommended, and it's just because I already made one of these masks and I could tell the elastics were a little tight on me since this specific type doesn't have a lot of give, which is unfortunate. Okay, so these are pinned in. You can see the form of a mask coming to being. And now with this inner layer, what we're going to do is pin this so that it's completely attached along the inside. This is tricky to show you and me at the same time, so let me just get this one side started and then I'll flip it around to show you. So I usually do in the middle first. That's just my way of trying to make things as symmetrical as possible. And then I'll go and pin the two sides. Perfecto. Yeah, so I've got the blue pinned to the burgundy like so. And I'm going to do the same on the other side over here. Another way I find the midpoint is I fold all of the fabrics and then try to bring the folded parts together. I'm really curious where people are watching from. If you guys want to make comments, let us know where you're watching from. What's your city? Are you going to be enjoying your long weekend? Certainly a very different long weekend than we've ever experienced here in Canada, but we'll get through it. There's a question here. Oh, sorry. More of a clarification. Okay, it's all pinned up. I'm going to now sew a straight stitch here and a straight stitch here, and that will bring all of this together. I'll probably go double over the elastic spots just to make sure that they're really locked in, because you do not want those to be popping out, since they are the secure part that holds the entire thing to your ears. So yeah, if any of you are panicking that this is live and that you're not taking in the info fast enough, don't worry. It's going to stay on CBC Life's Instagram for 24 hours after this. Alright, I just did a little zigzag stitch over the elastic because I really don't want that thing to go anywhere. Amazing. That is the first one in. I did another zigzag stitch at the end to really lock it in, since the elastics can go through a lot of strain. There's a comment here saying, I'm a beginner. My last project was pajama pants. What do you recommend for my next project? Great job on choosing pajama pants as the first project. Well, if you have leftover fabric, I can't help but recommend also making a coordinating top for your pajama set, especially since many of us are indoors much more now than usual. If you have the opportunity to dress a little comfy and cozy for yourself during the day, why not? I find, yeah, for me, like the classics I like to recommend are actually, I usually start with tops. I'm impressed that you started with pants. I would try to make like a cute little top to go with the pajama pants. Oh my gosh, I love how people are writing where they're watching from. Thank you all for tuning in from Victoria, Scarborough, Calgary. Calgary is my hometown. Newmarket, Gatineau, Hamilton, Iowa. Ooh, an American in here. Nova Scotia, Jasper, Montreal, and Ottawa. Thank you all for watching. We're in the home stretch now, guys. I'm so excited. You might have noticed that I didn't have to put pleats into the inner layer. And that's because it's just going to be hugged right up against your face. And it's hidden inside. And so pleats is more like, the additional benefit of pleats is that they look nice. But this inner layer is just like going to be smushed up. So there will be no need to put pleats into it. Also, I'm excited to show you the additional feature that this specific tutorial allows, which also explains why there's no pleats. Oops. All right, so this mask could essentially be done if you wanted to stop here, but I do have one more step that will make it way, way better for fit. So you see here the sides are left completely open, and in the Michael Garron Hospital tutorial, which we will also link on cbclife.ca, the sides are left open so that there's an opportunity to insert a filter. And online I've seen people recommending, not just people, but like official resources and hospitals recommending that things like paper towels or tissues can be inserted to use as a filter. If you're extra fancy, you can use a vacuum bag material, but I don't think those are in abundant supply. And that extra filter will further increase the effectiveness of this mask. And then, yeah, like I said, no pleats on the side, because once it's up on your face, it's just going to be like, it's all going to disappear and be scrunched in. So the last thing we're going to add, which if you were watching from the beginning, you saw me mention, was the twist tie. I really do hoard these whenever we buy electronics and all the cords come with twist ties, because they're just so handy for cleaning up cords and keeping things orderly in the home. And so this is going to be now useful inside of this mask. So all we're going to do for this, and remember, like, you can use pipe cleaner. The other day I made one of these and I used the parsley twist tie from my groceries. But we're going to take this is about a good length. You want to make sure it goes fully across the nose area with a little bit extra to give. And we're just going to, let me check which way is the top. The top, if you're ever unsure, you want your pleats to be pointing downwards so that they're not creating pockets for dust and particulates to fall in. So this right here would be the top. Whoops, oh no, I didn't put it in secure enough. See, that's why you have to. This right here would be the top, because that's where the pleats are pointing downward. Let me just show you how to insert this, and then we will be almost done. I just slide it in up here. I use my fingers to kind of like ease it so that it's as close to the top as possible, and then just sew a straight stitch in right beside it so that you lock it in between the two stitches. Okay, and I am going to fix this elastic as my grand finale. Oop. Don't die, machine. We're gonna make it to the end. Alrighty. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me put it on to show you how it looks. And again, like I reiterated at the beginning, or like I said in the beginning, it's so important if you're planning on doing this for donation that you pre-wash the fabric so that it's shrunk, that you use clean hands, clean space, and that when you donate it, you follow the instructions that the hospital that you're donating to has requested. For personal use, there's a couple of points that I want to make extra clear. When you're putting on the mask, you should make sure that you have clean hands, clean face. You put these over your ears. And then up here in the front, you can pinch the metal to make it contour nicely around the nose, so that reduces the number of gaps. Once that's done, I would suggest that you don't touch the mask until you're done being outside, you're back in what you consider to be a safe place, you remove the mask and it needs to go straight into the wash. It's not recommended that you reuse them. And so if you are planning on making on your own fabric face mask, the best protocol is to follow these steps. Put it on with clean hands, adjust it as needed, and then after that, don't touch until you're ready to take it off and throw it into the wash immediately. And if you decide to do the little slit for the metal twist tie and you're worried about putting that into the wash, just do it in a way where you can reach in and pull it out so that you're ready for wash. For example, I think I did just that. Yep, I can still grab it right here and take it out so that it's not going to be part of the washing cycle. And yeah, there's a lot of tutorials online to make fabric face masks. I hope that you don't find them too intimidating, and I think they're really worth watching. My name is Wendy. I run a YouTube channel called With Wendy where I teach beginner sewing, and I just uploaded a video where I test sewed 4 different hospital approved mask tutorials, so you can go check that out if you want to see more mask styles. This was the only one that was Canadian. The other 3 were American requested masks. We will put all the details up on the CBC Life website if you want to get their dimensions and instructions. If you want to do this one, the hospital is Michael Garron Hospital. I'll wrap up with answering quickly just a few questions. How do we wash these? I would recommend putting them in a hot cycle through the washing machine. Another thing that works really great is if you put all your masks into a big pot and you keep them stirring, but you let it boil completely so that the water has passed the degree where everything that could be living on this mask hopefully is no longer living. In regards to my sewing, there was a lot of beeping because I was switching to zigzag stitches when I was doing the elastics. It's just kind of an easier way to encase them. So if you want to do that too, I would recommend that tip. And it was not really challenging to teach myself to sew. I will say if you want to learn to sew, it truly is a testament to your patience. And I would say patience is the thing you need to be stocked up in the most before you get started with sewing. Like skill, you can learn it. You know, cutting things, learning through trial and exercise, you can do that. It's the patience that might run out first. So really amp up your patience before you get started with sewing. All right, I'm gonna wrap up here. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all staying safe and taking care. We will get through this. Take care of yourself, take care of your neighbor, your community as much as you can. And we will see you all next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.